So in Earth Science today, we are doing a planet lab. And what your peers will be doing in the classroom is modeling Earth's rotation, revolution, and tilt relative to the sun. So in the lab, they have a styrofoam ball. The styrofoam ball represents a planet, and in this lab it represents Earth, and a light. And the light represents the sun, or any star. So that you can see these processes a little clearer, I'm going to show you on a bigger model. So the first scenario that we're modeling is why we have days and nights. So as Earth spins on its axis, different sides of the Earth are facing the sun. So the side of the Earth that's facing the sun is getting direct sunlight, it's daytime. The side of the Earth that's facing away from the sun, back here, is facing space and it's night, it's dark. So that's that. Earth rotates. I always mix these words up. The Earth rotates on its axis once every 24 hours, which is why about half of that time we're facing the sun and about half of that time we're facing space. Your picture just needs to have an Earth, somehow represent that it's spinning, maybe with an arrow. And then you need a sun in your picture too. And then maybe you can show the sunlight hitting Earth on one side and the other half of the Earth being in the dark. Your sentence should say something like, Earth revolves on its axis once every 24 hours. One full revolution is equal to 1 day. And the side of the Earth that's facing the sun is in the day, and the side of the Earth that's facing the space is in the night. You may not want to pause this video, draw the picture, and write the sentence, and then come back to learn about years. So years happen because Earth revolves around the sun. One complete revolution takes 365 days. So when the Earth is revolving, different sides are angled to the sun. We'll come back to that with seasons. But just know that the Earth revolves around the sun one complete time in 365 days. And that full circle is a revolution. I always mix these words up. Behind me I have a word wall, but I think it might be backwards for you. So rotation is the Earth spinning on its axis. Revolution is the Earth spinning around Earth. Earth's orbit, its path that it takes around the sun, is not a complete perfect circle, but slightly elliptical. So again, you should pause the video, draw a picture of the Earth traveling around the sun, and label that that's 1 year, and then just write about that in words as well. The last situation is seasons. And so hopefully you can see in this model that the Earth is not actually tilted exactly up and down. Here, Earth is at an angle. It's not oriented in the right direction for this. Here, on this bigger Earth, or you can kind of see here, see, Earth is tilted. And on this bigger Earth, you can see much more clearly that Earth is tilted on its axis. So it doesn't spin straight up and down, it spins slightly tilted, about 24 degrees. That happens because way back in Earth's early history, we were hit by a giant planet and it knocked us sideways. But this is important. This is why we have seasons. So turn the light off again. Half of this Earth, the top half, is getting direct sunlight. So the sun, the light source, is shining right overhead. As the Earth spins, the sunlight is directly kind of like on top of these places. But notice that the lower hemisphere, the southern hemisphere, the light is more spread out. And the more spread out the light is, the cooler that it is, because that same amount of energy is going in a bigger space. When the light's directly overhead, the hotter that it is, because the light's more concentrated in a smaller space. And I can show you that with this light pretty easily. Notice that if the sun is overhead, this light, it's concentrated in this narrow area. If it's spread out, that same amount of light is spread out over a much bigger area. And if the flashlight is giving off the same amount of energy, if it's spread over a bigger area, each piece of that area is getting less of it. So if it's heat, you're getting less of the heat. So seasons happen because the Earth is tilted. And the side tilted towards the sun, I'm trying to show you with this representation here. This is what your peers had in class. The side tilted towards the sun, the hemisphere, either the northern or the southern, is getting more direct sunlight. The side tilted away is getting a lot less sunlight. This is also why in Alaska, way up here, during the summer months, they're getting 24 hours of sunlight because they never are out of the sunlight. And down in Antarctica, it's the opposite. They get 100% darkness when we have summer, and then 100% light when they're in the summer, which is the other half of the year. So if you have questions, the best thing to do is to first use Google. You could look up why we have days, why we have years, and why we have seasons. Go to Google Images and look at the pictures that they present. You could also rewatch this video and kind of listen a little more clearly, catch the things that you didn't hear. And if you've tried both of those things and you're very confused still, you could email me and I can meet you one-on-one and we can talk through it together and draw some pictures together. So, good luck.